Well, hello there people, I'm here with another 9/11 investigation video. And what we're going to do for this video, I decided is, as you see an article up here. The website is gwu.edu, so a credible source. And these it just have documents here, the title, as you see, the Central Intelligence Agency's 9/11 file, just documents that have warned about 9/11. A lot of people like to point to the August 6th memo, I believe that was the date, which had bin Laden determined to strike in U.S. But the reason that one's so big is because a large portion of it, or probably all of it, we don't know if that was all of the PDB, President's Daily Brief on that day, but because of page number, we didn't see the actual page number, but at least a large portion of it, or some of it, was declassified. But I mean, some of these, if you go down to the bottom here, I would have printed out this article maybe, but it was just really long, so I'm just gonna, show it on here. If you go down to the bottom here, there's just tons of fucking documents on the whole thing, but this is where you get to the the big ones here. As you see this one right here, you could just click on them and they'll pull up. Bin Laden attacks may be imminent, and let's just click on this one here, and it a lot of it looks like it's classified, but it says Bin Laden attacks may be imminent right here, a document. There's just so many of them. Terrorism, Bin Laden associates making near-term threats. Click, oops, let me go back to that here. Let me just open it in a new tab. And then it says Bin Laden and associate, there's documents, Bin Laden planning high-profile attacks. Planning for Bin Laden attacks continue despite delay. Bin Laden delayed but not abandoned. One Bin Laden operation delayed, others ongoing. And Bin Laden determined to, and that's of course the famous President's Daily Brief here. Looks like it. That might actually be a different one, because I know there was one that said Bin Laden was the President's Daily Brief, but this looks like actually a different one here. Yeah, this one does not look like the same one. But, if you just look at all the documents here, detailed reports on Al-Qaeda organization, let's click on this. See, Sunni terrorist threat growing, senior executive intelligence brief, just so much information, on the threat of Osama bin Laden and possible strike. And this one was in February even. Discovery of multiple terrorist plots. Jihad movement is raising threat to the U.S. interest. There's just so many of them in here. Bin Laden's attempt to acquire weapons of mass destruction. There's another one here. There's just so many warnings on, Bin Laden and like how dangerous he was. More interest in right here, biological and radiological weapons from Bin Laden. Let's look at this one. Positive CIA counterterrorism capabilities in August of 2001. In contrast to the findings, we'll read right here. In contrast to the findings of the 9/11 Commission report and a 2004 CIA Office of Inspector General's review of its pre-9/11 counterterrorism practices, a report completed in August of 2001 by the CIA Inspector General gives very positively reviews to the CIA counterterrorism practices, the management of information, and interagency cooperation. So, just a lot of shit here. Obviously they're saying, we could look at the report here. It looks like it's 81 pages, so probably won't be reading that during the whole video. But it basically very positively reviews the CIA counterterrorism practices. So they were obviously monitoring this guy, and there's just so much information. Just in this, so many documents here to cover. I can't cover them all, but just look at all of them. Look at this one. This one's from oops, let me see if I can just highlight this one here. 1999, claim that Bin Laden postponed hijacking. That's in '99. I mean, just all the you know, 1998 time frame. You know, I can't get this one just individually highlighted for some reason. Well, this one where my mouse is. Time frame for completion of hijacking operation. I mean, just all this, it's just mind-boggling. 1998, Bin Laden. Let's see if I could highlight this one. Here we go. Bin Laden preparing to hijack U.S. aircraft and other attacks. Just look at all this stuff. This is, you know, and I didn't even know about this stuff. You know, it's just, like when I first started researching this, you know, I just found all this stuff. You know, here's another one. Just planning by Osama bin Laden to hijack U.S. airplane. Look at that. It just says, you know, the plans were. This is 3 years before 9/11. Options for excise or, you know, options for attacking the Osama bin Laden problem. So they obviously identified it as a problem. You know, just all the shit. You know, it's just mind blowing. You know, they obviously identified this guy. They obviously knew who he was. There's tons of threats on him, you know, or documents on the threats. I mean, just look at all of them. Bin Laden's terrorist operation. You know, more of just so many. I mean, I can't even believe how many there are. Let's see if, and this is, we're getting closer to 9/11 here as we go down the bottom here. You know, and there's, of course, the Bin Laden attacks may be imminent. I mean, Bin Laden planning high-profile attacks. You know, just all of them. I mean, the Bin Laden determined to strike in U.S. Here's the President's Daily Brief. I went over this in a separate video. Yeah, this is the President's Daily Brief here. And as you see, you know, there's no page number here. You know, I assume that's probably where the page number is, and they classified that. So I don't know though. You know, that's just assuming. But as you see, all the warnings, not just one or two, you know, minor warnings. These are major warnings that Bin Laden was gonna, you know, attack in the U.S. And this wasn't something, you know, like as an American, you would believe that this terrorist attack was just some random thing. You know, we didn't know anything about it. But we obviously had prior knowledge to Bin Laden attacking. You know, and this is the stuff the mainstream media won't cover. Bin Laden determined to strike in U.S. But, you know, just all the information that we had before 9/11 is just mind-boggling. We should have easily been able to stop it, but, you know, of course, it went through, you know, just everything went right, you know, coincidentally. And, yeah, I mean, where's the mainstream, though, news on this? They're supposed to be, you know, monitoring the government, and, you know, all these warnings, there's so many of them. I couldn't even print the whole fucking page out because it was 30 pages. You know, so I just did this. Just look at all these warnings. There's numerous warnings, you know, and a lot of them like directly say Bin Laden might hijack an airplane. I mean, it's right in the documents, people. You just gotta look at them. I mean, of course, you won't see this on NBC, ABC, CNN, Fox News. They won't cover that shit. You know, the independent news will, though. Some of them will, you know, cover this shit. But a lot of the mainstream news will not cover this, you know, they will just ignore it. And yeah, I mean, you know, just wanted to point this out. All the warnings we had for 9/11, you know, and if 19 hijackers can hijack airplanes and defeat our air defense system and run around with hijacked airplanes for like an hour or two, without getting any planes, you know, even like intercepting them pretty much. You know, that's mind-boggling to me. And with all these warnings, with all the intelligence we had on them, they should have been stopped. So there you go, people. There's my video on all